बंदा बैठा हुआ पिछले 1 घंटे से। मेरे को भी ऐसा लग रहा है।
अरे एक बात बताओ, फिर खाली ऐसे ही डायरेक्टली कर लूं?
अच्छा, ईशान भैया और मैं आ रहे हैं। जतिन,
हाँ भैया।
नीचे जाके बैठो तो। हाँ।
ठीक है। ठीक है, मैं सोच रहा हूँ ना, एक में करके दिखा दूंगा, बाकी ये लोग खुद करते रहेंगे। हाँ ठीक है। ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है। पीपीटी ओपन है मेरी।
Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting the session in next 5 minutes.
Yes, anyone of you can confirm that my screen is visible?
Yeah, Ishan bhaiya, it's visible.
Sure.
So we'll start the session. Hey everyone, this side Sanid Sooni from UpgradeMore. I'm hoping that everyone is enjoying Cyber Month, isn't it? I would like to start today's session with a very important question. Do you know about penetration testing of web applications? Well, our today's session is all about this with our super cool speaker that is Mr. Ishan Saha. And yeah, I would like you to note that Cyber Month is not over here. Our cybersecurity virtual experience program and its certification will be there with you. You can complete it at your own pace and get certified with us. Additionally, you can also access the recording of our previous sessions on YouTube as always. And for our new hackers, our peers at Hacker Crew will always be there with you. Meetups, networking, learning, challenges, labs, and many more. Isn't that a great news? Now, I would like to request Ishan Bhaiya to share his wisdom of knowledge and experience with our KeyCast community. Ishan Bhaiya.
Sure. Hi guys, so this is Ishan. I am actually a penetration tester. I have cleared my OCP exam recently. Apart from this, I have been doing pen testing for more than around 5 years or so. And we'll basically be talking about the basics of web application hacking. So, what web application basically means is any website that you might visit, your college website or Instagram for that matter, or Facebook or any other website. So, here, what we'll be covering is basic SQL injection attacks, what XSS is, how exactly you make a payload, how you make different kind of exploits, how you exploit it against a website. So starting off, this is what we'll be covering. What, as I said, web application basics of application hacking payload. So there is this one app kind of a thing that has been developed by super cool team at UpgradeMore. What they've done is they've created a testing environment within which you can test different exploits, basic exploits, I guess. These exploits you can test so that you might understand how to exploit these in a real world situation. And in the last part of this phase, what we'll do is we'll try to deface a real website. Okay. Now, please note that this website is owned by someone we already know, and we do have permission to deface this website. So I think we are good to go. Starting off, what is exactly a web application? So, to understand what a web application is, you need to understand the basics of what a server and what is a client and how do they communicate. So, think of this as a big water tank, and you have a small bucket. Now, you take out some water from the big water tank using a pipe into a small bucket. Now, the small bucket itself is your client. Okay, this is basic anomaly that I'm trying to give so that you might be able to understand what the web application is, how it works. Now, the small bucket is your browser or your client or your web client. Okay, and the pipe that you're using, it is called a socket, and this socket is transferring all the data that is your water using some sort of protocol or here gravity. And what happens is this protocol might be HTTPS, it might be over IP or TCP or UDP, and what the big bucket represent or the big water tank represent is a server. So ideally what it means is that there is a big server. The server is a lot of documents, a lot of structures and a lot of things. Now what you do is using the socket here, the pipe, what you do is you try to access these documents into your client machine or your browser or the web application or basically a client application. And what happens is you send a request to a server expecting some sort of response for a specific document. Let's suppose when you go to www.facebook.com, what you are essentially doing is you are trying to figure out the DNS. What your machine does is it finds local DNS. It says, I want to connect to facebook.com. It responds back with the IP. And then your client browser asks the specific IP address to give me what document is there at facebook.com slash index.php. Now, this document is, so this is a specific request. It's like, hey, I need index.php for facebook.com. That is what a client browser says to a server. Now, server takes this request, churns it into different kind of things. It sees if you are logged in or not and whatever it is looking for. Then it responds back with some sort of document or HTML document basically. Now I'll show you this in a proper structure. So let's suppose there is google.com. So what is essentially happening here is you look for www.google.com. The protocol that you're using is HTTPS, and what you're looking for is index. Okay, the same goes for any other website. Now I'll show you something else. What happens when your application does not know where this website is? It gives you an error. So let's try something. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, here we have trouble finding the site. So what is here happening is your DNS is not able to respond back with a specific IP address for this specific name. This is how the basics of web application, you need to know how it works, how it understands a request, how it understands a response. Now coming back to the slide. Now what we as hackers do is we try to bypass this whole structure. We sit in the middle of the client server communication when we are hacking a web application. I'll show you this in just a bit. So this is my Kali terminal. Okay. You can ask questions if you wish in the chat. I think Udit or someone else might be able to respond to this. So what you do is in our Kali session, we always have a specific, what is it called? Yeah, burp suit. So this is a burp suit community edition application. So what Burpsuit does is it is a proxy. What a proxy is, it is something a kind of a middleman. It takes requests from here. It sends requests to the destinated port or the destinated IP. It grabs that response and it sends the response back to the client. It is like a middleman. This is a new installation of Kali, so I have not run Burpsuit in this Kali Linux yet, and I'm going to show you how this works. So again, this is my browser, client browser. Okay. And yeah, what I am doing is I'm using Foxy Proxy. Foxy Proxy, basically what it does, essentially does is you open up settings, you search here for XY, that you get a proxy setting. Here you set to manual and then you set your proxy. What I'm doing is exactly same. It's just that I'm using a simpler thing called Foxy Proxy extension for Firefox. Now, so this is what a burp suit interface looks like. We will be majorly working with proxy here, intruder and repeaters. These are what we are mostly concerned about right now. So to start off, how a server responds, I'll just simply show you by creating a server. Now this can be done using Python. It's very, very easy. Python is like a very cool programming language in my term. Python 3 -n HTTP log server. Now we give port 8081. So as you can see here, I am getting this specific port. So this is a URL to access a specific website. 80/A, and we have this IP. This is my private IP. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and I already know that the port is 8081. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on intercept here. So this means that I'm going to stop the request on my burp suit. When I forward this request, then it goes from burp suit to the actual server. I'll show you in a bit what the request even look like. So here I'm going to put this to the 8081. So here you get a request. If it is visible properly. So can anyone confirm if this is visible properly, or should I increase the font size? Swanita, are you there? Guys, can you confirm? Let it be, I'll increase the font. Here also I'll increase it. And yeah, so this is a basic request. What it is doing is it is using get, and it is specifically searching for this folder, or you can here type index.html or index.php. This is the protocol version. and this is the host. So this is basically the resource location, or the URI, uniform resource in location, which I'm trying to fetch the details from, or fetch the resource from. And this is your user agent. It basically means what browser I'm using, and here it means what kind of response am I expecting. I'm expecting text slash HTML, application slash X, HTML and XML. And what is the language that I'll accept? That is US English accept encoding. So yeah, when you get a response, it is usually encoded. So this is the encoding that my browser is accepting. And this we don't require as of now. And this is also we don't require. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward this request. And when I do this, this request will be visible on the server. And what's it? Yeah. So forward, and here you see I see multiple requests from the same IP. I get this, this. So it says 404 not found because there was no file which I was trying to intercept or try to find. It looks for favicon. This is by default. So these are the three requests that you get. And my Python server is responding with a directory listing of this. Here you can go get the ZSH. Okay, I'll forward this. If I go with desktop, I get this. These are targets, nodes, and map.txt. So this is how basic web application works. Okay. We go back. So yeah, we've covered web application pen testing. Now we come to the basics of application vulnerabilities. So when you go with OWASP top 10 guideline, I'll show you that also. So this is the project OWASP top 10. What it does is it keeps a list of top 10 types of attacks for web application that are being exploited as of now by malicious hackers. We go to OWASP.org and we have the latest top 10 for 2021. Yeah, let me zoom this a bit. So the first one is broken access control. It's like the access for different resources are not being given out properly or not being handled by the web server properly. Then we have cryptographic failures like SSL issues. Then we come with injection. So these are the basic cream of attacks. It's like SQL injection, HTML injection, XSS, and all these types of injection are there. These are being attacked in the wild. PostgreSQL attacks, then you have RC attacks, OS command shell attacks. There are n number of attacks that you can try. Then we have insecure design. So yeah, we are hackers. We have a mindset of hacking stuff. We have a mindset of breaking things apart, trying to understand how each and every single stuff works, and then we try to modify the behavior of, let's suppose, any functionality or anything through which we try to get it to respond back to someplace else, or try to make it work in a unintended manner. That is happening only because the design was not properly set for any application, and this happens for all of the applications. It happens for Facebook, it happens for Microsoft, Bing, and you name any, it will happen. Because not it is not even possible to keep everything in mind. There is nothing as completely secure website, and there is nothing as completely insecure website. Okay, and yeah, XML entity security misconfiguration is there. Most of the time what happens is that what developers do is, what they do, they simply start on an FTP server, they start off anything in the very basic configurations, or even they don't even take the time to configure it into a secure fashion. That is where it goes down, because this is what hackers attack on. This is something which I get a lot. Like, even when I'm doing penetration testing for my clients, I get usually how I get into their systems is using misconfigurations. So there might be an Active Directory server which is misconfigured. There might be a web server which is not uploading files properly, or is anything in that line of thought. I try to exploit it. Okay, and then we have vulnerable and outdated components. So there is this project called ExploitDB. What it does is it keeps there. Okay, like here you see Wondershare Micro Mirror Go 2.0.11, then Micro Weber CMS local file inclusion authenticated. So these are the list of attacks that are there. These are exploit codes. Exploit codes means you use this, you get access to something you generally should not get access to. Okay, so these are like a repository for all exploits, or it's like a gold mine for hackers. And yeah, so I even have my exploits up there. And we have identification authentication failures, like again, admin login bypass is there, or there are sometimes that OTP gets bypassed. That has also happened a lot many times. And yeah, that's like basically you're trying to access something and you bypass the access routing system. It's very cool when you're able to do this, and it feels awesome. Coming to this software data integrity failure. So yeah, sometimes what happens is there are DDoS attacks and something in that sense, which makes the application work in an unintended manner, and that eventually the application goes down. And we have security logging. So yeah, due to very less monitoring of applications, people are not able to get that their application has been hacked for a while. So I was doing incident response for a client in my firm, and they were not aware that they had been hacked for previous 4 months. What they did was they were like, hi team, this is the issue we are facing, and someone tried to access an RDP into our internal network. Now when I talk about IR, what is happening is someone already hacked their website months ago. They had access to their website. They, without even getting notice, they mapped the entire network. They got RDPs for multiple applications, for application servers. They got RDP for multiple users. Then they did something which got the client notice them. Then they were like, yeah, we are hacked. Well, everybody gets hacked, not a big deal. It's a big deal, but yeah, you have to be very careful about this. So then there is the server side request forgery. This is an attack. I have my blog on UpgradeMore for this specific thing. What this means is this can be used to map out internal network structure for any organization. What I was able to do is I was able to hack Microsoft Outlook programs, through which I was able to identify the web servers that those were being uh, used as a trend micro proxy. I was able to map those servers. I was able to map those IPs. So that is what secure site forgery is. So it's server side secure forgery is basically a way to find internal organization network. And yeah, so this is OWASP top 10. This is the basic of what web vulnerabilities are. Yeah, I've talked about almost most of them. XSS in injection, insecure deserialization. This is actually the older version. This is I think 2070 version, 2017, and the current one that is 2021, which is recently like released. I was showing you those specific OWASP top 10 guys. Coming to the next slide, payload and exploitation. Oh yeah, so let me show you something. I think there might be. Yeah, so this is the virtual experience lab that I was talking about. We go to the VulnApp section. Yeah, here you see this is HTML injection remote code. Here we have these. Okay, so we'll start with just a basic reflected one. So this is first name. Uh, Here you go, and welcome Ishan Saha. It shows this like this. Now what I'm going to do is, so to explain what exactly your payload and exploitation are, I need to show you how I figure out stuff. So I see that my name is being displayed here. It means it is taking this input, it is processing this in some sort of manner in an internal process. Then it responds back with the name and it gets displayed here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set off my proxy and I'm going to put the same thing again. Let's see. Oh yeah, advanced. Yeah. Acha. Yeah, press can continue. So coming back here, this is what I'm getting. It is trying to fetch this specific resource, vulnapp slash htmli dot get underscore get dot php question mark first name Nishan, last name Saha, and form is equal to submit. The host is labs.upgrademore.com, and we have cookies. This is very, very important. What this means is this cookie is like a session manager. It's like when you go to a store, you try to interact with somebody. That's like a session you are having with someone. You're trying to talk to someone. It's like a very, very small session. Similarly, how web servers try to communicate with each other, how they identify one person from another person is using these cookies, session cookies. Okay, these are like basic Google cookies, and this is the user agent, and this is the referrer. This is very interesting. Let's just simply forward this. So what I'm going to do is I'm click on action. I'll send it to repeater a car. I did control R on the same thing. I send this. Turn the intercept off. And here I send my name Ishan and Saha. What I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Ishan Saha. And there is exactly one match. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply put HTML code. So HTML tag basically, like let's suppose I put a B tag and I send this and search for this. Here my B tag is getting reflected. If I go and request this in my current browser session, I copy this. Here I am. You see, this is being bold. Now I think it would be better if I did it in H1. H1. And let's see. Yeah, it shows H1. Now I'm going to copy this again. Here you see this is being displayed at this. Now there are many applications for this as a hacker. What I can do is I can actually make my own form which asks for, let's suppose, login into this and get free Paytm points or something of that sort. And usually people get into phishing attacks. See, I have done multiple phishing attacks, and I'll be very honest with you, people get hooked into this very easily. I had sample data of around 200 people, out of which 78 people were giving me their details, and this is a very bad number. A lot of people get hooked into like these kind of attacks. So what I'll do is I'll simply go with Ishan input type is equal to text. uh, place, placeholder is equal to username, and let me go with BR tag. And yeah, I should also put a form in there. Action is get. Method is get, and action is, let's suppose, some other server. It can be anything. Right now I'm putting simply this, but the method is equal to yeah, get. We are info type is equal to password over. I will do this again. or I'll better do it from here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type from. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to write a HTML form. Input type text folder is equal to username PR input type is equal to password folder is equal to um, password, and we close the command with the submit button. Button type is equal to submit, and yeah, we close it. Submit button. Now I'll convert this all into URL encoding. Okay, and I'll send this. So if I try to look for this, I'll try to look for Saha actually. Here you see I have this. Oh, yeah, here you see I have my input fields that I put, the form that I put as a HTML that was being reflected by the server. Now, the best part here is you can do anything with this. You can show it this. You can go to the browser. Let's cut this. You go with this. You see, here it is showing you. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I should have put one BR. And before, yeah. Show response in browser. And yeah. Do you see I am getting my username password flag here. If I submit anything, this, it will get submitted. You see this? This is this is the basic gist of what an HTML injection is. Now I'll explain what I did. This is what I tried to do, and here this is called a payload. Payload is a specially crafted piece of text or a piece of request that you send to the server, which makes this application work in your direction or towards something that you want. Here I wanted it to work like a login page, so it is working as login page. You receive welcome username, it shows username, shows password. Okay, so now this is something that you would be doing. I can even do one more thing. I can get it redirected. I can even put an XSS here. Script alert script script, and I can type here anything I want. Flagged by yes, new star with love. Okay, so I can put anything here and convert the selection to URL, send it, show response in browser, and voila. You see this? Hacked by Nukester. this is what you can do with this. So here you can even make something play like a YouTube video if you want. We'll go with that also. It's very go with this. Yeah. So what happens when you're using Burp Suite is you have to have installed your Burp Suite certificate. For that, it's very simple. You simply type HTTP burp. You download the certificate. Save file. Go here. Yeah, TV certificate. Use certificate. Import. Open. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to import my own CA certificate into my browsers. What this helps me to do is so there are HTTP websites and then there are HTTPS websites. What happens with an HTTPS websites is those are considered secure. Now, why I said secure in this way is because the machine is in my control. I have access to my own machine. What I do is I simply install my own certificate. Now I can bypass their SSL as well. I'm going to show you this. Okay. And yeah, again, now this will be fine. Yeah, you see? One sec. Oh, shoot.
Grammar and spelling important. But if you want to write essays that
Indeed. Yeah. I just simply copy this and I come here. Here it says hacked by this. I have to simply paste it here. One thing, yeah. Here you see, I can do this. See, this is the fun of it. You can rickroll any website. And we go back to what we were doing. So that is what an exploit code means. So exploit code contains payloads. Okay. And these payloads have to be crafted specifically for your attack towards any infrastructure or any website, depending upon what the website is built on, depending upon what you're doing there, depending upon how the website reacts. Like here, it was reacting in this specific fashion, it was giving me this sort of response. So this is how you develop a payload. You have to be very, very careful what you're doing. You have to be very careful in understanding how your website is responding to a specific type of request. Here we were using a get payload. There are post payloads also. And yeah, what we do is we try to figure out how we can make them work in our specific way. Moving on. Yeah, so again, this is what I was talking about. VulnApp, it's a basic application testing environment. What here you can try your own exploits. You can see what you can do. If you ever want to impress someone, you can just simply say, "I have this website for you." That is also there. Yeah, okay. We come to the end part of this. It's time to deface a genuine website, which we have access to. Coming back here. Uh, Udit, what was the URL for this? I forgot. It was, I guess, blog dot. Was it this? No, it was not this. Uh, Udit, are you there in the chat? Can you give me the link to this? Let's, let's get the history. Mm, Singa. I think this was the website, I guess. Yeah, this is the website that we have. It's Joshua's website. We have approval from his end to hack this website. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to deface this website. Now, the best part about this is I had my own college website. I gave myself attendance and then I defaced the website. It was very fun. Everybody was laughing. And it was a time when we were supposed to have exams. Again, you do this at your own risk. I am not liable for any of that. If you do something, if you break something, I'm not liable for any of that, nor is UpgradeMore. It's your own responsibility. Be very careful on what you do. Pakistani websites, that's up to you. Bangladeshi websites also, it's up to you. Basically, any other website, any other country which does not have an extradition treaty with India. There you go. And here we scroll down to the, yeah, here you see we have a file upload functionality. Now, what this means is, so think like a hacker. It means I can upload anything here. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload literally anything here. And what I'm going to do is, so we are here. I'm going to close this. I'm going to come to desktop and nano shell.php, or better yet, not php. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a simple PHP. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a simple PHP payload. Any PHP payload starts with this echo 3 and then system. So what system does is it basically runs anything, any command that you put into it using the OS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do get, and let's suppose, come on, that sounds nice. Echo 3, and here we go. This should be enough. So see, I made this, it's here, and now we're going to upload this. Matter, use it for fun. So just blah blah blah, and we go select shellcode. We send this message and we get this. Now let's see if it was successful or not. We go to the proxy, HTTP history, upgrade more lamps. This, it had a parameter. Upgrade apps. Contact.php. Yeah, here you see my request is being sent to the server. This is the request. It is a multi-parted request. Uh, Name goes here, everything goes here, my content goes here, my PHP file goes here, and it gets submitted. I'll put it here. It says file is an image. It is not basically validating that you're putting a damn PHP file into an image. It's not validating that. Anyway, it's a good thing. We follow the redirect. It for redirects us to the contact.html page. That's a good thing. It means it is working. Now, the bigger question is, how do we understand what to do now? Well, you've uploaded a file, very good. Where do you access this file? You have to find out a place where you can access this file. So what we are going to do is we are going to open a terminal here, increase the font. We are going to go with Go Buster, dir. Dir stands for getting the list of directories into that specific website. We are going to user share word list and brb and common, and we are going to put the URL singa.com. Let's go P10 and let's go okay. Valid certificate, no worries, minus K. Here you see these are the files that are already there in the server. Let me just cancel this, clear this, and run it again. Yeah, and we get ahead with this. We'll have to wait for a bit to complete it. There are around 4.6 thousand entries in this specific word list. Yeah, the first folder that we found is CSS extra fonts, image, index, JS. Let's go look at the image part. Let's see if anything is there. Oh, that's great. Blog projects. That's nice. And we go to the parent directory. Here you see we have an uploads directory. That is great. We're going to go with this. And yeah, here it is, my PHL. And we put the name as command. So what we are going to do is we are going to simply put anything here. Let's suppose who am I, or better yet, IP slash A. Here I am not sure if you're able to see, but this is the response we get from this website. It says ETH0, there is this IP, then there is this tunnel, this IP, and that's all. So what we are going to do is we are going to edit some stuff. TWD. We are in var www HTML and slash uploads. We are going to do ls minus la slash var slash www slash html to know what all is there. Yes, you see, this is an index HTML file. Huh. Let's upload one more file here. And what will that file do is, yeah, echo. What this is going to do is HTML, script, alert, tag, script, HTML, and we are going to send this into what we are going to do is send this into blog, HTML slash PHP is the oh, I think there was no index.php. Hmm. Let's see if it is hacked or not. Oh, it was index.html. That is why it didn't work. HTML, and let's see. Let's go with it did not work. So, it seems we do not have the right access to this. What is this news? Let's see. Mm, I don't have access to this. This is what a directory. What we can do is we can echo this into a new file. We can put this into index.php and yeah. Now if we go index.php here. So my point here is that it is being reflected to this, but the user has to access that specific page. And it seems we don't have access to this HTML file. Let's try HTML index, remove this, control shift R. Yeah. So now even this is getting hacked. See, this you go simply to this website, it says hacked. Mhm. And let's change this a bit. Hacked into oblivion. Sounds better. And again. Control Shift R. See, hacked into oblivion. So this is how you deface a website. You can put anything here. You can put, hey, support me on this specific page, or send money to this, or you can even put your ransomware in here. You can do whatever you want. But I think I'm going to tell Joshua to get this site down. So I think that concludes what we were supposed to do here. Any queries from you guys? It's time to answer your queries. Odit, are you there? Khanat there.
Any question, guys? You can
I,
write down that questions in the hackers chat or the YouTube live as well.
yeah, I am good with that. My screen share.
And you can connect with Mr. Ishan Saha. That is Ishan Bhaiya. You have
Yeah.
ended the stream. Like, can you please show that,
Oh
Ishan
yeah.
Bhaiya?
Is it visible?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this visible now?
No, it's not visible. The stream is ended. Yeah, it is visible, Ishan Bhaiya.
Okay, chalo. So you
You
can
can
always connect to me over LinkedIn, or you can email me. It's up to you how you want to do that.
exactly. And Ishan Bhaiya, we have got a question from Alet Anderson. That is, what is repeater?
So yeah, repeater is basically a specific part of Burpsuit. Burpsuit is a very good tool. You should check it out definitely. So it's what it does is it takes your request and it shows you how the server is responding to it. Like I showed here, this is the repeater tab. What it is doing is it is taking my response, it is sending it to the server, and it is showing me taking my request and showing me the response, how the server is responding to this specific kind of request. Like this is the request, how it is uh, processing this, how is it going to respond. It is going to show me where Saha is. It is going to put my alert box here. It is going to like give it out to the HTML content. It's basically a way that a hacker can get uh, to see what his payload worked out. Okay, so it's like you put anything here, it gets reflected here. It's like that. So it's like a browser in terms of a very robotic term. It's like robots are able to read this. We are not, obviously, but whoever understands how HTML is structured, you can also understand what this writes, what this does, and what repeater does is it shows us that this is a request and it will give us response like this. It is very useful when you're trying to make your custom payloads. Like there was this one time with my previous employers, I had to find payloads. So through which I was able to, so Paytm Mall, I am sure you might have used it somewhere in your scope in your lifetime. I was able to find stored XSS in that Paytm Mall section. How I did it was I had to figure out a very, very crude and a very, very uh, how do I put it? Very, very weird payload because I had to try to make the payload break something in the application server. So it was filtering out my requests, okay, and it was filtering out my XSS payloads, and I was very, very upset. Then I thought, why not try to break the filter itself? So what I did was I jumbled a lot of stuff. I made a payload. It was successful in bypassing the filter, and I got a stored XSS in Paytm Mall. But again, since I was doing this as a consultant, as a security consultant, not as a bug bounty hunter, I did not get any bounties. And yeah, it was before Paytm Mall was launched. I did this before Paytm Mall was launched for everyone. Any other queries?
The same person has asked for the URL of SSRF also, Ishanbia. That
URL.
SSRF block. Yeah. So, Alec, do you need any
Oh,
explanation of that particular block?
I think URL that was in a blog section, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've shared that.
Chalo, great.
Yeah.
If you want, so it's like blogs, right? Yeah, blogs dot. Uh,
infinityresearchlab.com. It's been posted over there. Alec, do you need any explanation of that?
yeah. Wait.
Ishan Bhai, Alec is asking another question, that is this kind of man in the middle attack?
No, this is not a man in the middle attack. It is more like you have application access, you have the control over your own browser. You can make your browser work into any way you want. So it's more like an extension of your browser. It's not like a man in the middle, but yeah, you can say it's like it's some way resembles a man in the middle attack, but it is not exactly that because you are by choice doing all of this. Coming back, Infinity Research Labs. Yes, here it is. I think in the blog section we have this blog
Yeah,
section.
exactly.
Yeah. So this is the
Uh,
one. I found this in Microsoft SharePoint platform and in Outlook. I did not get any bounty because I was again as a security consultant. Life of a consultant, no bounties for life. So, any other queries?
any other queries, guys? We'll be having a podcast session also tomorrow. If you have any queries
Yeah,
related
yeah.
to any stuff, you can ask tomorrow as well. Alit has asked one more query, Shanbia, that is this burp tool on which layer does it work?
On which layer? Yeah,
Yeah,
so it is actually working on presentation layer because it is working on our end. So it's more like a presentation layer kind of a thing, but it has access. Did my camera feed just end? Is my camera working properly? Are you able to see me?
yeah, it's working.
Okay, chalo. So it's more like presentation layer mixed with session layer mixed with transport layer. It's more like that. I think
Uh,
we have to wrap up for today.
yeah, we'll wrap up. Is there any other queries, guys? You can post it here, but we need to cover it tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. You can post your queries
Uh,
anytime. You can send it to me as well. We'll be
y-
covering that in the
uh,
podcast. Also, in the podcast, we'll be discussing about incident response. That is a very, very cool thing. I'm going to share my experience. Well, I saw a lot of websites getting hacked, how people respond to how websites are hacked, how why you should not do black hat hacking.
and any other queries related to hacking, cybersecurity, you just need to post on on our Discord
Yeah,
server in the hackers chat section.
yeah, you can do that as well.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ishan Bhaiya, for sharing your hacking mantra with us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a
And
pleasure. Please
yeah,
go on.
Ishan Bhaiya, it's a pleasure for us as well. And additionally, guys, we'll be having a podcast session tomorrow at 5 p.m. As Ishan Bhaiya told you, that is regarding an incident response. Right, guys? So till then, stay tuned with us, learn more, upgrade more. Thank you so much.